Welcome to the shit show.
Hey, you said it last week. I'm going to carry the tradition on, as we always do, Tom. Vibe check! Vibe check! I'm sitting here rocking my Outrunner shades. I feel like the youngest podcaster alive in these shades. I am wearing a Pile Drive Fascism shirt because I'm cool as fuck. I'm wearing
hell yeah
pants. Tom, what's your vibe check? What are you wearing, Tom?
So you're wearing Pile Drive Fascism.
Yep.
And I'm wearing the person who we're probably pile driving, Jeff Jarrett, huh?
Yes, God, that shirt looks so great on you.
Now, again, allegedly, I don't know that to be certain.
You think
but
Taylor Swift's still hanging out with Jeff Jarrett these days?
Look, no, I don't. But here's the thing. But he's employed by AEW, so maybe I was miscategorizing him, right? He did still try to sell gold, fake gold, to unsuspecting elderly people. So never forget that part. But maybe you learned from your ways. So here's the thing. Longtime listeners know that this shirt typically stays with you.
Typically. No.
Yeah, it's like 98%.
No, it is not
this
even
is
close.
This is the second time I've ever seen this shirt.
Sounds good, but you're still full of shit.
Yeah. See, I told you this will come in handy. I use this one a lot.
That one caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I like it. But you have to do charity from, time to time.
Charity, okay.
Like you can't just be like, stomp on their throat more. So I gave you a bone, right?
You're uniquely that kind of person. You are that.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would say that about me. So I did a little bit of charity. Obviously, Mark Briscoe was not going to beat Ricochet. We all knew that.
Yeah. Well, some of us knew that.
Although you were sweating pretty hard because you were like, come on, Ricochet. And I was like, you think they're going to have a heel win the first 3 matches in a row? And you got really nervous.
I know. It's like, son of a bitch. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, you got
oh no. Oh
yeah,
no.
You got a little nervous on that part. But yeah, so I lost. Everyone's crying because you're happy. But we all know that.
I know some people that might cry because I'm happy. There's a few.
Yeah, most people. Yeah.
They all watch this podcast, apparently.
So yeah, let's
look, I'm wearing the coolest shirt today. We know that.
Yeah, you definitely are. And I'm wearing the worst shirt. But other than AEW, before we get into that news, what's going on with you? What's new?
Just working, winning pay-per-view picks, getting rid of evil auras out of my home by delivering that shirt to you today. You know what I mean? That was fun. That was a blast. Nothing, man. I had a blast this weekend watching the show, right? We had a holiday this weekend, right? It was rainy and whatnot, but like a 3-day weekend was nice. Back at it, just living that life, just kind of doing stuff around the house, working and watching wrestling so we can talk to the sickos right here. And, one way they can do that, Tom, is they can email us, aewrapup@gmail.com, right? You can type it out. You can send a video. You can send an audio. We'll read that or play that here and talk to you that way. Or you can find one of us, most typically Tom, on the Blue Sky. The URL or the username for that is www.allelitewrapup.com. I know that's a little confusing, but that is what it is. And that's also our website.
But if you also just search All Elite Wrap Up, it'll come up. You don't have to put the whole thing. But no, if you are seeing something different than that, then that ain't us. That's the part we want to bring out.
You'll know us when you find us. But talk to us.
Exactly.
What about you, Tom?
So let's talk. No, not really. So what did I do? I went to a hockey bar because I'm a big hockey guy. Almost wasn't let in. So I go to the Blue Line that's over here in our River Market,
Okay.
and I'm wearing my my Seattle Kraken pullover hoodie,
Cracking up.
and me and my wife open up the door to go walk in, and a woman says, "Seattle, that's okay." As if like if I was wearing something else, we wouldn't have been let in. Now, I don't know if you paid attention to the news. A lot of people get beat up leaving that bar and entering that bar. So I thought maybe it could have happened. Thankfully, it
I did see
didn't.
somewhere that Kansas City was listed as the 8th most dangerous city in the world. So there is that.
Hell yeah, brother. Gotta move up the charts. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Gotta be
Those are
number
rookie
one in
numbers.
something.
We can get those
Yeah,
up.
come on.
All I'm saying is scare
So,
a
yeah,
motherfucker
did
once
that.
in a while when you're walking around. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
numbers
I mean,
up.
come on. However, I will say we have a suburb for anyone not from this area. We have a suburb in eastern Jackson County called Blue Springs. You can't be a fucking hard ass from Blue Springs. That just isn't
Almost
a thing.
any kind of springs, right? Like you can't.
Yeah.
It just has a weird.
Or color. Blue, like if I said, "Hey man, I'm from Blue Compton," you'd just like, "What the fuck is that?" You know what I mean? Like colors are also pretty stupid. And then when you combine springs and a color, shut up. You're not a tough guy.
Red foot
Just
up your
not a tough
ass.
guy.
You ready, man? Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, we went to the hockey bar, did that, and then watched
you sent
some
me a picture of
baseball.
that.
Watch
Yeah, you were eating some.
I tried
bar
poutine
food.
for the
Looked
first
good.
time.
Okay.
For anyone international listening, I tried poutine for the first time. I don't get it. Like I like it in the sense of like that was really good, but I wouldn't like stamp my flag and be like, this is what we're made about. Like, you know.
Theo P in the chat says, "What if I show up wearing a Savannah Bananas jersey?" And by the way, you can talk to us live in the chat if you catch us on these live streams. But Tom,
They were
Savannah
actually
Bananas,
in town.
Yeah, they also brought out the Haas, didn't they?
Well, yeah, and man, did our Royals suck. So they had the 2015 team. Hosmer got screwed a little bit. So if you don't know Savannah Bananas, they're basically Harlem Globetrotters but for baseball. One of the rules, though, is if you're up to bat, you don't get out of the batter's box. You just stay in to keep the game faster, right? Well, Hosmer takes a middle fastball, swings right through it, and he's like, what the hell? And he kind of like plays it up to the crowd. Well, he steps out and he's kind of like hamming it up, and they're like, you're out. And he's like, what? And they're like, yeah, you're out. And I was just like, guys, you're going to have a fucking motherfucker on stilts pitching in like 2 hours. So I don't know if we're really should be playing by the rules here.
Kayfabe.
You know what I mean?
Kayfabe.
Yeah, exactly. So he was out. Moustakas hit a nothing grounder to third. And then Alex Gordon struck out, like legitimately struck out. I'm like, makes sense why you guys are retired.
Sounds like the Savannah
but yeah,
Bananas,
Savannah Bananas were in town.
Idea they need some ref bumps. Sounds like they need a ref to take a bump.
Well,
and
their
then-
umpire.
Oh.
Yeah. Their umpire tries to like dance while he does, and it's just like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
hey,
a little less
we don't
dance
need
and a little
everyone.
more theatrics into like the Globetrotter aspect, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
this is
my favorite part about
match,
it,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite part about it is like when they catch it doing a backflip. That kind of stuff, awesome. But I don't need a High School Musical dance number in between the first
Yeah,
and
it feels
second
out of
pitch.
place. Yeah, just make it a little more like tongue in cheek, like cheesy pro wrestling version of baseball, right? Like, I mean, that's what we need.
I will say the coolest rule that they do have is a foul ball. If it's caught by a fan, that batter is out.
Nice.
I do like that rule.
Nice.
That is cool.
I haven't been to
I
a
will say
Savannah
that's
Bananas
good.
game yet, but that's because you know what we will be going to though, because I just got my tickets and we're VIPs.
Hey.
We're ballers, is we're going to tacos and tequila coming up in June, and then the next night we're going to see GCW right here in the 8th most dangerous city in the world, Kansas City.
Hell
and we're going to make it more dangerous. This is how we get them numbers up. GCW is coming to town, and we're going to go check that out. What a weekend for us! Are we going to survive that, Tom, in our advanced stage?
No, probably not. But here's the thing. Will GCW, you guys talk a big thing about, oh, we're Jersey City wrestling or whatever. Come here. Come to this area. Now let's see. Flyover country is it's so nice and the people are so cool. No, we're not.
Yeah.
We fucking hate
we're
everything.
finna not be nice. We're gonna
Yeah. Yeah, just because we're not by a river and fat doesn't mean that we're not going to kick your New York ass or wherever the fuck you're from. So, like,
We should do some
don't
media
get all
on site.
twisted about.
I feel like we should bring out the masks again and do some media on site.
Might do it. If by the way, if Tacos and Tequila is a touring brand, if they do come to your neck of the woods, this is the lineup for this year, really quick, before we get into AEW. You got Mims. This is why I'm hot. My personal favorite of all of them is probably going to be the first act, Trick Daddy. Then you got B.O.B., Trina. Come on. Trina.
I was talking about you and Trina in the last time we had this conversation to my wife.
Love Trina. Too Short. Your guy.
Yeah.
Bone Thugs. All 5 members.
All of them.
All 5. Also, side note to that.
Every bone.
Do you realize that they did a song both with Biggie and Tupac during the We Hate Each Other? Like, that's pretty incredible that one group was like, oh, we'll do a song with both of you guys.
Well, it was all about harmony,
and then Timbaland. I know.
That harmony.
Then you got Timbaland. And then you got the headliner who broke my heart, Nelly. So see if we stay for that or not. But there you go.
Yeah. My wife, I told her, as we're going, and she was like, do I have to entertain Tom? And I was like, you never have to entertain Tom. She was like, I don't want to have to, like, and she was like, if we can't go dance because Tom's there. And I was like, Tom was ready to go by himself. You don't know if I can entertain Tom. Tom doesn't even find you entertaining. What are you going to No.
Yeah.
Left that part out.
I know how to entertain myself. Yeah. Yeah. If there's anyone who loves me, it's me. I don't need anyone else. I can be completely fine.
Yeah. Well, she was
right
like,
here.
she was like, listen, she was like, not about Tom. She was like, but if I want to dance, it's weird. I want to like dance right next to Tom, just standing there. And I was like, we'll go dance if we're going to go dance. And she was like, then we're just going to leave Tom alone. I was like, Tom has friends. Tom knows how to get down.
And I'm good at making friends.
Like, look, Tom already bought the tickets before we were going. I was like, Tom ain't worried about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
it'll be great that you're there, but trust me, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Speaking
Tom's gonna get on the stage shirtless
things,
dancing anyway.
Dude, if Trina, look, I love my wife, but if Trina asked me to go up
During
there,
Nelly, you could pull the Shaggy 2 Dope and try to like drop kick him and miss.
Yeah, that was great. Remember, Trina was in AEW. Remember, she was the baddie with Jade Cargill too long ago.
That's true. Oh,
yeah.
Jade Cargill. Whatever happened to her?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know what has happened. Anyhow,
somewhere.
I was kind of joking, but then I was like, oh, I don't know. But let's talk about AEW. Now, for what we typically do after a pay-per-view, we're going to recap Dynamite. Yep. We're going to talk about Dynamite. We are going to then go into Double or Nothing. And then after we recap all of Dynamite, if there was anything that we missed from the pay-per-view, we'll mention it then. So that's kind of the order for tonight. Again, if you want to chime in, by all means, get in the chat. Do so then.
Get in the chat.
But we're going to start.
I would love for folks in the chat to ask Tom to show them what shirt he's wearing in case they missed it earlier.
Yeah. Yep. You ask and I will ignore. Here
what's new
is what we got. So it was taking place at the granddaddy of them all, El Paso County Coliseum in El Paso, Texas.
Yeah. This crowd was kind of meh for me.
They were fine.
Yeah,
I will say on the, like, I know we're doing smaller venues for more intimate crowd. This felt particularly small. This felt smaller than their smaller crowds.
Right.
Like, and maybe I'm wrong.
The bar.
Maybe it was because they weren't. Yeah. Because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they just weren't that loud, but it just felt like, are there 400 people there? Like, is that it? So anyhow, we kick it off with
I've never been
the
to El
winner.
Paso, Texas, but I've been to Texas enough. And just,
Don't need to go again.
Wouldn't recommend it. Yeah.
Especially Houston. Don't ever go to Houston. And if you're from Houston, don't tell anyone.
Yeah. I know Texas is vast. I know it's wide. I know it's varied. But I ain't found a spot there yet.
And just because it's big doesn't mean it's good. Tumors are big, So, like,
it's not the size that counts.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But hey, we kicked it off with the winner of the Owen Hart Foundational Men's Tournament. The winner was Hangman Adam Page. So before we get into his promo and what he has to say, let's talk about the main event from Double or Nothing. Will Ospreay, Hangman Adam Page. What did you think of our main event from the pay-per-view?
I thought this was awesome. I really think these guys told a great story during this match, right? The lead up, obviously, I think it felt a little rushed into it in some ways, but the match here, everything felt fine about it, and both of their reasons for wanting to be here were solid. And I think they did a good job at giving us the feels that it was going the other way, right? We both picked Will Ospreay to win this match, and we both got that wrong. Which is something you did more than I during that picks, was getting something wrong. Hence, that's why you're wearing your favorite shirt there. You finally get, charity or whatever you called it.
Yeah, charity, of course.
Right,
eventually, you would quit the podcast if I just kept winning. So,
True. Yeah.
If you recall, that's why we probably did the hiatus the last time. Is you're like, I'm tired of losing picks.
Yeah, maybe that's exactly what happened. Yeah. No, I thought they did really well here. A lot of subtle things. That one spot where they traded each other's rivals' finisher, right?
That was cool. I thought, honestly, a lot of stuff was awesome. That was, and again, maybe some other match has done that before. I have a dumb brain from time to time, so I will forget things. But I thought that was cool because usually you just get the other person's finisher, right? I do the hidden blade. Well, I do the dead eye. Yeah. But then to be like, no, I'm doing the person I hate the most finisher because I think it'll work. Well, fuck you. Then I'll do my, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was a cool spot. And Hangman wins. I wondered what's next for Will Ospreay. We got a little bit here on Dynamite that we're going to talk about, but what is next for Ospreay, right? Is he doomed for the, sort of the woe is me that plagued Hangman over this? And, we can get to that later, but that was kind of one of my takeaways too, was like, oh, so what do we do with Ospreay now?
Yeah, I think it should be interesting. Also, the other spot that I thought was pretty cool that Ospreay's starting to do more and more in these bigger marquee matchups. He did it when we were at Dynasty when he took on Bryan Danielson. Is this like high noon gunshot kind of thing, or like shootout kind of thing? Yeah. I think he needs to end it on that. One of these times, it needs to be he got hit before he hit the other one, or vice versa. And that's the match. Because I would have been fine if Hangman hits that buckshot right before the hidden blade, and that ends the match.
That
because then,
and then Ospreay doesn't necessarily,
and he doesn't lose too much, because then you could just say like he was just a half a second.
It's timing. Yep.
It was just a timing thing. He didn't really lose. So I think they should do that. Right, exactly. I think they should do that.
You're right. It's a shootout.
Yeah. And you're just like, okay, your bullet was faster than mine. You know what I mean?
Right. Hangman's bullet is always faster.
But let's talk about what Hangman said. So one thing that I want to bring up before I get into the promo, he's still coming from the heel side. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
He's still walking.
But okay. All right.
Okay. So that's interesting, because then when he talks, it's basically pure babyface, right? So he talks about how this winning the tournament means more than he'll ever know. He's promises and vows that he's going to beat John Moxley the next time they're in Texas, I guess.
Get it out of that briefcase and raise it high above my head. Right.
And then right as he's about to, yeehaw, well, the mood changed.
I'm glad that's not what he does.
I've never, yeehaw!
And then, yeehaw! Yeehaw! Look, we'd do
Let's
it.
Try
if
it.
He did it.
Yeehaw!
Hey, look, we'd do it. If Hangman did it, we'd do it.
Yeah, we would.
Love that
you
guy.
could do no wrong. But Swerve comes out and he said, hey, isn't this interesting? Because I got some beef with you. And Hangman's like, brother, I thought we're past this. And he goes, well, it's not exactly what you think. And he has some footage teed up that has the EVPs talking about, hey, we cost Swerve that match against Moxley for Hangman. Hangman, we know that you hate him and don't want him champion. Huh?
Yep. So what
he then also brings up, hey, maybe they lied, but you know who was also out there during my match with John Moxley? You.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of Hangman, old school Hangman comes out because he goes, listen here, dumbass.
Yeah.
If I would have cost you the championship, I would have done it myself. So, where are we going with that?
Yeah.
As we're about to get face to face and like gonna punch each other, this is when I thought the whole Swerve versus Hangman feud arc has taken a left turn, and I'm more interested because I don't know how it fits, but I also could think you do this and it could derail the whole thing. Will Ospreay walks out and he says, hey, look, I know you thought you were the guy, but you're not. It's Hangman. He goes, I fought you and I lost, but I fought him and I lost. And trust me, he could have killed me after the match. And he shook my hand. He's legit. And then he goes, if the three of us get together, we can take out the Death Riders. And Jesus, before he even really finishes that sentence, Swerve knocks the mic out of his hand.
That shit out of the arena. Fucking what?
Like, fuck you. I ain't doing that.
Yeah. He said,
here's where I want your feedback, though.
It's like what he did, right? Like you insulted me.
But I want your feedback on this part of this whole interaction. Ospreay is building up Hangman to Swerve, and Hangman is stoic. He doesn't play his cards one way or the other. He's just, because you could say, hey, Ospreay, don't fucking talk for me. He knows how good I am, right?
Sure.
Or he could have been like, yeah, Swerve, come on, the three of us. Nope. He just straight up stands there and just
like watching this go down. Well, because it stands to reason he didn't know Ospreay was going to come out here and start simping for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just letting him do that. Which I thought was a little weird in that regard, right? Like, it wasn't even that he's simping for him. It's that he ran out there to interrupt this moment and be like, let me tell you why Hangman's the guy, right? And, like, I get it. That's a point to say, like, he earned this. It's his thing, right? Like, he got it. He's like, let's just get behind him and let's get the title back, and then we can all worry about this. And I think we can get there, but I do think they got to do some heavy storytelling on Swerve and Hangman not really wanting each other to be around, right? Like, and then in the moment when this comes to pass, and current moment, if you ask me to pick today, I'd say Hangman beats Moxley and wins this thing. But in that moment, there's going to be some like, will he, won't he help him? And maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, right? Maybe Hangman doesn't win this title because Swerve said, nah, fuck it. Can't do it. Slice his throat.
There's a lot of different ways this could go. Mm-hmm. I think the easiest layup is Swerve overcomes this whole thing with Hangman and helps him because we realize that Moxley is the big bad wolf and we got to get rid of him blowing down everyone's house.
I think we needed Moxley to be a little more big bad wolf if we're going to do that. But all right.
I would say that. Yeah. I think we need to have him killing people. Now, you could do a little bit of like, have you seen Orange Cassidy? Have you seen, have you seen Darby Allin? And say like, these motherfuckers are dead, air quotes, right?
That's true.
Now,
that's true.
Here's where we could also go.
You see Pac?
Yeah. Here's where we could also go. Mm-hmm. This is where my brain went because my brain only thinks in pro wrestling terms, I feel like. Hey, Ospreay just told you he couldn't beat Swerve and he couldn't beat Hangman. Well, you know who's beat Hangman and who has beaten Swerve? John Moxley. So wouldn't it be cool if Ospreay said, hey, fuck these two guys. Why don't I join the Death Riders? Or why don't I align myself with John Moxley and fuck those guys?
So Will Ospreay comes out of nowhere and gives Kansas City punt to Hangman and Swerve.
Because you could have a whole thing where he's being
hit him in the back.
Because you could have this whole story be Ospreay is really trying to make this work for the betterment of AEW. And then maybe he comes to the same conclusion that Moxley did, where it's like, no, everyone here is amateurs and they're not about wrestling. They're about their little egos and fun, cowboys and stuff.
Feelings are there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so look, I don't think that that's where they could go, but it's an interesting angle if they did.
I like that
You
idea.
know?
Give Tom the pencil. Let him give you some notes.
Yeah. Because let's be honest, Death Riders are cool and all of that. But
Yeah.
if we're being honest, I think at All In, it should finish. And Claudio's awesome, right? As a wrestler, he's awesome. Who's his last feud with?
Yeah, exactly. He's just been the muscle for this group with no real.
He's just been hanging out.
Yeah.
So if we could get him out there taking on Okada, right? Like get him away from Moxley, we kind of end the Death Riders. It's a new, I'm air quoting this because, don't call it this, but it's a new 2-man power trip with Ospreay and Moxley.
Well,
And
know
there
what
you
we
go.
need to do is get rid. Yeah, Claudio's got to do something on his own here. If we're saying he can't, then let's get him a talker, right? Like I don't want him to join the Don Callis family, but like Don Callis talking for him or Stokely talking for him. But like any group he goes into, he just gets pigeonholed into that. He's just the muscle for that group, and there's no real, no real nothing. What would you do with Claudio if you took him away?
Oh,
all right, he breaks off of Moxley, however we get there. But now we got something new, right? He's got to show up in a new outfit tomorrow. What are we doing?
so it's kind of hard because the person I'm thinking of has already been spoken for, but maybe we could figure out a way to break that up to then get to what I want. But I think it would be cool because she's doing amazing in this current role, but I'd put Penelope Ford with Claudio. Penelope Ford has been awesome with Megan Bain being this like,
True. Real
right?
shit talker, right? Real fireball shit talker. Yeah.
And she doesn't say
Instigator.
much, but it's enough to like, it's enough to be like, fuck off. Right. And so, and again, maybe there's someone else. And I know that the Kip Sabian thing. So I wouldn't add Kip Sabian. I would have him with, I'm air quoting again for those who aren't watching, some hot, I'm better than everyone else, heel female manager to do that. Now, I don't, who could, she's also spoken for too, I think. But Lexi Nair would be another option, right? Lexi Nair manages Claudio. Perfect. If you had Lana, still do that, but I think they end up getting married again or something.
Yeah.
Something, I don't know. But yeah, that's what I would do with
It's a
Claudio.
healthy relationship where you can rest assured.
You know what? It's a relationship. It's healthier than how I feel in this fucking shirt right now. God
Is
damn
the
it.
itching started?
Did you put
The
bugs
sores?
in it? Yeah, did
Or
you
the
put bugs in
sores?
it?
No, I didn't put bugs. I washed it for you even. I don't think you've ever done that for me.
In what? Acid? What did you wash it in?
Jeff Jarrett hair dye.
Okay. No,
or rubbed it down with Gold Force Gold.
But yeah, so what I would do kind of as we're going on this side quest, I would have Claudio still be quiet and have Lana-esque character. I'm going to take over everything.
Even with that.
And then it's him that does it.
Isn't his whole shtick done? Like the swing, we can't do that anymore, right? Like, isn't that's kind of hokey? Like, what do we do with Claudio? Like, how do we present him?
Do the swing. Okay, follow me down here. We'll get back on track. Follow me down here. I instantly thought of this as soon as you said it. Okay, let's just say it's Penelope Ford because that's, again, the lady that keeps coming to my brain with this whole gimmick, right? Have Claudio fucking swing Yuta, right? Because he'll say he turns on Yuta, right? And every time he goes around, and every time he goes around, she plays that like skip it game and she jumps over him and goes again and jumps over him and goes again. And she's like, this is fun, right?
So if
and
he's a
like,
bully, if he's the muscle for her bullying, like that would be, she's degrading people. And he's the one actually enforcing it, allowing it to happen. Yeah. Theo P says, Bugs, it could be T-Mac's inert spider powers manifesting live on All Elite Wrap-Up. Yeah.
That's a deep cut.
Deep cut. By the way, we are about 2 months shy, Tom, of being able to record on the exact 12-year anniversary date of us doing a wrestling podcast. How fun is that going to be?
That's the best.
Don't be booking something on the Thursday, July 24th there. You got to keep that one open. You might have already done it, didn't you?
Maybe. Maybe.
On Wednesday and
all right, let's get back into some action here. We then get into some in-ring action after that promo to kind of tie loose ends there. Swerve walks off saying, fuck that. I don't want to do that. Hangman then does like, I don't want to be with Swerve.
Yeah.
So,
Like,
and then we end the
come out
segment,
here,
right?
fuck you. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we get into some mixed trios action. We get Mark Briscoe, Speedball Mike Bailey, and everyone's favorite Willow Nightingale versus, and I thought this was cool, Gabe Kidd, John Moxley, and Marina Shafir. But the idea that they would pull up as like the bell is ringing to start the match,
Yeah, that's
I
what they
thought
do.
was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like, yeah, we ain't hanging out and
Like,
catering.
all we
Fuck
care
this.
about here is fighting. Yeah, I'm not gonna eat your shitty
Yeah,
catering. I'm not gonna hang out and fucking do
Yeah.
this fucking limp wristed handshake you all do. I'm gonna
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
show up and kick your ass.
Yeah. And so I thought that was really cool. And because the venue was so small, like they could just walk right to the ring. You know what I mean? It wasn't this long, drawn out, like follow them to the ring kind of
So,
thing.
Mixed trios, you say, and we had in the Anarchy in the Arena female involvement. So we're leaning into that now.
I hate it. I hate it. I don't like it. I just, again, I know I sound like an old man, but young, impressionable people usually do what they see on TV. Now, is that every single time? Is that the reason we have guns? No, but there are some times, right?
Yeah.
And if you got a fifth grader watching John Moxley take a pizza cutter to Willow's head,
Yeah.
you know,
So I'd argue
so
I
it's
don't
just,
wanna
I don't
see
like
it.
it.
I don't want to see the extremes of it, right? I don't need to see some guy just brutally murdering someone.
Well, it's
But I'll
AEW.
also say that large part in general, right? Like I don't need to see that in my wrestling either, right? So it's less about the gender there. Like I don't necessarily need the extreme murderings and stuff that happen in wrestling sometimes, right? So, but yeah, I understand. I understood Tony Khan's at least business approach of like, yeah, you know, we're not going to test those waters, right? Of just like, I'm not going to get scoped up into the liability of like pissing somebody off or doing the wrong thing here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think there's some of that, right? There's worries of that when you're a, a company. So interesting, but that clearly is no longer his concern because we're getting it.
Yeah, we are, but we're not, right? They didn't tag them in and just have them straight up. It's
but
still
there's
like
a few
flirting
spots.
with it.
We get some spots though, like
Yeah.
in the Anarchy in the Arena and stuff like that. But that's again like a spot or two here because it is what it is. And these are some ladies who are like, bring it. I can poke you in the chest, like hit me. Well then, all right.
Yeah. So the Death Riders get the victory here, but as you mentioned, Anarchy in the Arena. Let's talk about that because this was really the Death Riders getting one back from losing at the pay-per-view. Okay. One thing actually I do want to mention about the Dynamite match before we actually talk about the Double or Nothing match.
Yeah.
If you notice, Willow Nightingale in the ring wrestling Marina Shafir, we go to a backstage shot of Chris Statlander watching the TV of Willow. So apparently we're not done with Willow and Statlander. No, it was pretty, but she was standing next to like 2x4s and like hammers and shit. I don't know why they decided to film backstage promos in a
closet.
broken down mall or something. Yeah. But let's talk about the Double or Nothing match. So we get all the type of fun. There's so much to talk about. I don't even really know where we start, but let's just start with, I guess, the entrances. All the entrances were fine. I think the one who won the night, though, were our founding fathers, the EVPs.
God damn. These guys have never done anything this cool in their life. And this was awesome. Leaning into that founding fathers thing and then wrestling that whole match in that fucking colonial getup had to be the worst. I mean, the swamp ass from them. But great stuff. Yeah. To Justin Roberts being like, all right, well, here we fucking go. Right. And having to read that whole thing. And them waving flags and shit. All of it was great. All of it was wonderful. Yeah. Loved it.
Yeah. And so we get
even
the start
Tony
of the match.
Schiavone. Like as soon as he ended, he was like, well, if that was the biggest bullshit intro I've ever heard. Didn't give him any moment to let it sit. It's like, fuck that.
Yeah. Tony Schiavone definitely added to that. But we get the music of the founding fathers drum line, whatever we're going to call it, 1776 fucking bullshit. And it goes on and it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. And then Kenny Omega just says, hey, switch it. Switch this shit.
Yeah, fuck
No.
this sucks. Give us something else. Give us something upbeat, I think you said, right?
Yeah. And so then they go to, I'm so excited. I'm so excited, which I thought actually was pretty good.
Oh,
and
it was
fits,
great. It does.
It
I was
fits
enjoying
two
it.
of the-
I was enjoying it.
Yeah. It fits two of the members of the match, Willow and Kenny Omega, right?
That's
like
true.
it totally is those two guys.
Yeah, but I thought I was like,
vibe,
we
or
can
two
rock to
people's
this.
vibe.
I can rock to some crazy ass whoopings to this song.
Yeah.
Crowd was into it.
And so
Crowd
then-
at Anarchy in the Arena, by the way, was
Yeah.
fire. They loved it.
Fantastic. Yeah. And so oddly enough, Swerve and Kenny Omega were like, this is kind of cool. Now I thought
Swerve
this is where
first was
they're
like,
going.
Really, dog? This?
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm like, all right, fuck it. Yeah, let's go.
I thought we were going to get a deep cut callback. Now it was with Will Ospreay, not Kenny Omega, but there is a viral clip of a very young Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay not dancing to this song, but something similar to it. And I thought we were going to get another kid and play kind of thing with Kenny Omega and Swerve.
Gotcha.
Now, I've seen Kenny Omega
ain't
play
that
basketball.
coordinated. Yeah.
I don't think he's that smooth.
He's not doing a
but
kid.
I thought
play
maybe we
dance
were going to.
move. Like, it ain't happening.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
No.
So Kenny Omega then grabs the mic again and he says, hey, let's do an early 2000s alternative rock. And I liked how he's like, if you know the words, sing along.
Yeah. Like, you know what they're going
There's not a lot of words, Kenny.
Yeah.
It's one,
Yeah.
two.
Yeah. There's
You're
a
not
scream
really
in
singing
there.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we get Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. And I told you this before we recorded, but I instantly thought of you, Tim,
Yeah.
because if no one knows of it, you should go on YouTube and look up the spoof called I Can Only Count to Four.
Oh,
And it is the
those
best.
are the best songs ever.
The
written.
best. Yeah. I can only count to four.
Yeah.
One. What comes after one? Two. What comes
Oh, it's the
after
best.
two? Three.
It's the
What
best.
comes after
You
three?
will never hear
Four.
Let the Bodies Hit the Floor again. You will only hear
Nope.
I Can Only
Yeah.
Count the Four. You'll be laughing next time somebody's playing this song non-ironically
did.
somewhere.
I did. I laughed so hard. And
It's the
to the
best.
like you said, the crowd's credit, they went with it. One, they were
Oh,
doing the
yeah.
two.
This crowd was in it.
Wah!
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
And
going
there
with
were
it.
some moments where like the wrestlers knew to ham it up right at the start of the
Yep.
rah and stuff like that. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they played that on loop 3 or 4 times. It was great. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So now let's talk about some of the key moments I thought from the match, because there's going to be some things that we call back to later in Dynamite, but instead of going back and forth to this match, let's just kind of get it all there. So the first thing I want your feedback on is towards like the last third of the match, Hook comes out,
Yeah.
looks right at Claudio, I guess, takes him out, right? Takes him out essentially.
That's
then
what
looks
Claudio-
at
that's
Samoa
who injured
Joe.
him, right? Was Claudio?
Well,
supposedly. Yeah.
so he takes out Claudio, and
Uh-huh.
Samoa Joe's like, hey!
Hey, what's up,
Hey!
guy? Yeah. Uh-huh. Get
And
in here. Yeah. He's
yeah, and Hook said no, and just walks back.
Yeah. Hook's acting still not up to great, but he does the like, no, dog, no.
And also, and I'm not trying to poo-poo on whoever thought it, we didn't need a reveal. You're wearing an orange hoodie. There's only one fucking person that
Yeah,
has
you have a certain
orange.
way you walk. Like, we know who you are. Dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they already
it
said,
wasn't a new person.
like, that's Hook, right? Like, they had already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
to
Samoa
your
Joe is
point, what
great.
you
I
said,
mean, he was shit-eating grin. He's like, buddy, get in here. It's great.
but to your point, what they said, and they actually was only Taz, was, oh, that's who hurt Hook.
Mhm.
Now, if you read between the lines, Hook looking at Samoa Joe would say otherwise, or something else may have happened.
Or maybe this is just the jealousy about the Powerhouse Hobbs.
It could be. There could be a lot of different things there, but Hook takes off, right? Then we get towards, actually now towards the last part of the match, and Gabe Kidd comes out, Remember Gabe Kidd? We just talked about him in this match. And he comes out, and now he's beating up people. And this is where I thought, hey, Hook, where are you, pal?
Yeah, come back. Yeah.
Come back. And instead, it's blood-soaked. I picked him because I love him, but he broke my heart. Now I'm in this stupid-ass shirt. Mark Briscoe, and he helps.
Yeah, Mark Briscoe has no connection to this at all.
I mean, kind of he does, because if you go back to like the origin of when Orange Cassidy didn't want to be a hero, it was Mark Briscoe fighting the Death Riders. So he's kind of like the mid-tier Mr. AEW. You know what I mean? Like, so I get it in that sense, but like, yeah, specifically to this though, he never had anything to do with
He had a match earlier where he lost, and thus Tom has to wear, what shirt are you wearing, Tom? Like the fans want to see it in the chat here. Yeah. Actually, Theo likes the Jeff Jarrett. He said you should rock that Chosen One Jeff Jarrett shirt.
Theo, I think you should shut up in the chat.
Theo, he's wrong.
Enough of your talk.
You know, that's his anger talking. He'll tell his therapist about this, and his therapist will make him feel bad about it later.
No, my therapist is on my side. On this one, at least.
My therapist hates Jeff Jarrett, too.
Yeah, my therapist hates him as well. Now, here's what I would have done if you're going to have Mark Briscoe. This is what I thought would have been the funniest thing for Mark Briscoe specifically.
Okay.
Is we get to the point where Team AEW, I don't know another name for them, and I don't want to call them all by their names again, but Team AEW shoves the Death Riders into the ambulance. I think it would have been funny if they get out there and Mark Briscoe was still in the ambulance and like comes up and is like, no, just
no, fuck you. Yeah.
I thought that would have been great. It's like they took out the gurney and he's still on it. And they're like, what the fuck is this?
All right. So they pop up. Now this maybe fits better for Stadium Stampede than Anarchy in the Arena, right? But they open the ambulance, throw him in there. There's Mark Briscoe. He starts fighting. The ambulance doors close again. They get control of this. They're going to throw Mark Briscoe back in the ambulance, but it opens up, and Shaq is in there. And then he fucking jumps out. Because, right? We haven't seen Shaq since that fucking ambulance.
Shaq, we still don't understand that. I love it.
That would be great. Fucking John Moxley around.
Yeah. So the end of the match, though, they trap the Death Riders. So that just leaves our EVPs. I believe dark-haired EVP takes a one-winged angel through an exploding table.
EVP1, right?
EVP1. And then balding EVP2, takes spike-covered Answer 3 Swerve's new shoes, by the way, bottom, and whop, right on the shoulders.
Yeah. By the way, I'm impressed with EVP2 and his bald. Like, he's come back less balding. He should tell his tips to anybody that's balding. Like, he should come back. It's like it's more
probably just probably just push-ups.
Yeah, just push-ups. Push-ups and water. It's really all you gotta do.
That's what. That's what MJF did. If you looked at before he took off for this hiatus, he kind of looked fine. Now his hair's looking great.
Man, I tell you
push-ups and water.
We were still naming episodes. Push-ups and water.
That would be fun
right there. I feel like we should start a clothing company called Push-Ups and Water.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. What and then the last bit of detail. Oh, actually, one other fun note of this match that I loved a lot is Powerhouse Hobbs is wearing a big black and jacked shirt.
Yeah.
And we have a moment where Willow throws Marina, to the second row or whatever. And then she reveals, I'm also wearing a big black and jack.
Yeah. Exactly.
That, again, I'm not in favor of mixed tag, but if we do mixed tag, big black and jacked, Powerhouse Hobbs and Willow,
that can just be their tag team name, Big Black and Jack.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Big Black and Jack. Yeah.
Intergender tag team champions.
I mean, kind of, if you're going to do it, it would fit. So yeah,
BBJ.
the other thing I was going to say is Swerve then showed off his tongue because he had a staple gun on his tongue. Swerve, my friend. chill it on
maybe
this.
This is like urban legend, but I was always told back in the days, because this was like a hot thing to do when I was younger, right? People would go get their tongue pierced, and it was like, well, you got to get it done from a reputable place, because like you can get fucked up if they do that wrong, right? And like paralyze it or some shit. And like, are you cool to just staple your tongue? I'm assuming you're running this by a doctor first, and maybe you're not.
Well, it also, and I'm not to say one way or the other, but it could have been sleight of hand. He could have had his tongue pierced. He does that. He goes down and puts his, tongue piercing in, and then, right, could have been that.
Could be that.
Because I also don't think Matt Jackson, I don't think EVP1 actually took a staple gun to the dick either. You know what I mean? Like, that was a cool moment too, where he's like, "I'm gonna get him." I'm gonna get him. Swerve's just like,
just tag. The one too where they threw him up and he just reached down and plucked him on the head as he was up in the air.
Yeah,
that was a great spot too. Yeah,
yeah.
That like, was all right, really well, fun. Fuck you.
So
that's great.
So Team AEW gets the victory, and then again we go back to Dynamite last night. The Death Riders kind of get one back on him. Moxley chokes out Mark Briscoe. So as we move on, we get a backstage vignette of the Hurt Syndicate. I'm just going to call them the Hurt Syndicate because I think it's weird to say Hurt Syndicate plus MJF because they're now all the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah, they said it. He's an official, full-fledged member.
And what I thought coming out of this, and essentially what they said is they defended their titles, someone step up. I honestly came out of this going, hey, I know he doesn't wrestle a lot, but if you want to, make the career of this guy longer, just make MJF a manager. Like, he was fucking great,
So what he said is they're the most dominant tag team in AEW. That's why they're the champs. And they're gonna be the World Tag Team Champions forever, and I'm gonna make sure that happens. He goes, and our goal is we're all gonna be draped in gold. So I'm going after the big, the Triple B, right? And he was like, you better not get in our way. There was a little moment where he didn't really sell this too hard because he only has one facial expression, but Bobby Lashley kind of looks at him when he's like, and I'm going for the Triple B, and he's kind of like, oh, you are, right? Like, oh, I didn't realize this was the plan, right? And then, are they just going to be so game to be like, yeah, you're going to be the world champion, be the lead guy here, like you're running the Hurt Syndicate? That's where I feel this goes. MJF tries to do The Rock in the Nation, right? Where it's like, know your role, I'm leading this, I've got the plan. And the rest of them go, nah, dog, not doing that no more.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting because Shelton Benjamin is all team MJF, right? There's been ever since he gave the thumbs up and got the ladies in the watch,
he smiles about
he's just
it.
Like, do whatever. Sure. We'll make you the champion too. Just let's be tag champs and you go ahead and do that. So should be interesting.
But what happens when they,
so after that, we get a nuts. Huh?
Will that happen? Will they lose the tag titles while MJF is a member? Then what happens?
Yeah, because I think that's then where Bobby Lashley goes, oh, so you cost me this, so I'm going to cost you your shit.
Yeah, you said you had you didn't do your shit.
Yeah.
So why am I going to do for you? And it all unravels.
Yep. Now, who they could lose to could be who was alluded to in the next segment. We have Ricochet backstage, standing again next to broken down power tools and just wood.
Dressed up, though, like he's fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's dressed like he's about to walk into the nicest Marriott hotel, and he's standing into what looks like the first stage of building a Marriott hotel. Like, it didn't make any fucking sense.
It looks like he's in a junkyard.
Yeah, it was so weird. But he says, hey, got past Mark Briscoe. Fuck that guy. I won the first ever stretcher match. But I look around here, and Moxley's got someone.
You did, and I predicted that correctly. And you did not. What shirt are you wearing? I'm wearing a Pile Drive Fascism shirt.
I'm wearing Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah. How's it feel?
Not good. It feels like depression and fucking cow manure.
You see how much I'm smiling since I got rid of that today?
Yeah, you see how much I'm not.
Great day.
I wanted to do this for charity, and now I hate it.
From the car to the house.
And you know what, motherfucker? the fucking next pay-per-view is like a little longer than a month too.
Man, that happened to me. I lost it right before whatever they take that like break from New Year's till fucking
Oh
late
yeah.
February. I was like, God damn
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that was right. All right, so let's talk about Ricochet. So Ricochet says Moxley's got somebody. The EVPs are, a group. So basically he's like,
Yep.
but I need a crew. Now, I didn't catch this. You did. You think that means that who will be
Because he
joining
said
Ricochet?
crew, and he emphasized it and hit the word hard with the hard C several times. He said crew at least 3 times, I feel like. And I think that means he's like, when I find that crew, I think he's going to find crew. Whether or not they're just like, hey, it's us or whatever, I think that's what we're going to do with. And I honestly think that fits, right? I haven't liked crew in this pairing, but when you tell me they're now going to be like the edge heads for Ricochet, ooh,
Yeah.
man, maybe we should do that too. Maybe we should like make them shave bald and do like an edge.
Bald is cool, guys. Yeah, if they're like,
Try
no,
to be
bald is
like
awesome.
Ricochet, yeah, get the beards. Maybe not that full, but like, yeah, I think that kind of idea, right? Like they're kind of like what did Miz have? He had like 2 guys following him around for a while, didn't he, or something like that?
Yeah, I forget what not Ms. Dow, obviously. Ms. Dow is someone different. But yeah, whatever they were called. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but yeah, that would be fun.
That's where I think we're going. Because who else? I mean, like, who else would you like? You're gonna go steal some of these other undercard guys. I don't think will hit, but I think crew actually fits that gimmick really well.
Yeah, especially kind of already, and then him looking the way he
overconfident
does,
nerds.
Over fashion bullshit stuff. Yeah, it totally makes sense. All right, so we get back into some in-ring action, and we get a no disqualification tag team match. Anna Jay and Feel the Wrath, Harley Cameron versus Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. And guess whose first time it was a no disqualification match? Harley Cameron. You know how I know? Because she got fucked up not knowing how to protect herself sometimes.
She still. I looked. I thought it was a work for a while because she did get her hands down, but she didn't get them in.
Oh, she did?
Time, I guess.
Yeah.
And busted her nose up.
wrecked.
But kudos to her for like fucking being like, get off me, bitch. Like I'm going in here, and they didn't really know what to do. Right? Like there was a lot of confusion, but like she was like, I don't give a shit. Like I'm fucking finishing this.
She was
Kill
ready.
somebody.
She was game. I will say one of the moments I liked because it made her look even more more of a big beast or more of an indestructible force or however you want to say it. But when Harley and Anna just kept hitting Megan Bayne with all these weapons, and she was just like, ow, would you stop?
Yeah,
You
right.
fucking losers. Like,
Yeah.
damn it. And then she got him with a clothesline.
Like,
you
can
know,
we
I
stop
thought
playing
that was
this
cool.
game now? We know how this is gonna end.
Yeah.
Thunderclap.
Yeah. And so they go crazy. I don't feel like, especially when it has Penelope Ford and Anna Jay, because you always go back to that New Year's Eve no disqualification tag match that they were both in. It didn't live up to that standard, but I thought it did what it was supposed to. We get Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford win. Now here's the hard part. You already had her lose to Toni Storm. And this is where we need to do something, because Megan Bayne is the perfect person who would be TBS champion if
that's where I was gonna go.
you're wanting to do the worst option I think that's going to happen with Mercedes and Toni Storm. But Mercedes has the belt, and apparently she's never even come close to losing. And so what the fuck do we do? You know what I mean?
So I think what we could do is it's Megan Bayne gets herself a TBS championship match, right? Even though she's the strong beast, like, Mercedes Moné is about to pull it out, but Toni Storm comes out and does some fuckery and distracts her long enough for Megan Bayne to just thunderclap somehow, right? To just long enough to beat Mercedes, right? Like, now that would take Mercedes to be willing to get pinned here.
The only other thing I can think about is it's a 3-woman match. Toni Storm does the same thing. That leads to Megan Bayne pinning Anna Jay. And then Megan Bayne is your new TBS champ, but Mercedes never got pinned.
it's a 2-on-1 or something. Yeah. But you can't do that. She's still got to lose. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's got to be a triple threat. Oh, it's triple threat, but it's Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford versus Mercedes Moné. But I think we're positioning Mercedes as the heel for this upcoming thing, so I don't know that we would do that, right? Maybe it's got to be faces to get it off her. I don't know.
Maybe it's Anna Jay. Who knows?
Or it's Chris Statlander. Ever go get it?
Yeah, I mean, that would be great too. Yeah. Here's the thing that I want to tell wrestlers, because it
Pay attention,
frustrates
wrestlers.
me.
If you're watching.
Yes, all fucking wrestlers.
All of them.
It doesn't fucking matter if you win.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking stop this. I can't be. Fuck you. Because you know who's really fucking fascinating? Hangman Adam Page. You know what happens to him? He loses. And he loses more often than you think. You know who's not interesting?
Yeah.
Never even been a
to me, if
3
you're doing
count
pro wrestling
Mercedes
right,
Moné.
if you're doing pro wrestling right and your storytelling right, it should be baseball-like, right? Like we should be measuring you in the like 300s, 400s. You know what I mean? Like you get got a lot, and like you get rolled up, you get knocked out. Like this is a fight. Like you can be more athletic, you can be stronger than somebody and still get got, right? And the more times we run it back, the more times you get got. Like maybe the good people are sitting above 500, right? They're at a 650 or something, right? But like, it doesn't have to be baseball numbers, but like you shouldn't be this like I never lose. Like that's not how this would really work. Right? Like we see this in MMA.
And
the people eventually lose, right? You know what I mean? Like at some point you're just like you lose.
And to that point, kind of using a dated reference here, but in the early 2000s, the most beloved fighter was Vanderlei Silva, and he was like 16-4. Like he wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just because he was like, I'm going to give all my spirit in every single fight I got.
Everybody knows this, especially if you've done anything repetitive. Like Tom and I, we both played some basketball, right? You can show up on 2 different days, and one day you're just sluggish, right? Well, if that happens in a fight, you might lose that fight. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you didn't eat your Wheaties at the right time that day, right? And your blood sugar was off, right? Like, shit just happens.
And you could also, one thing as you were kind of mentioning, Tony Storm, it seems like, really struggles with Mina Shirakawa getting the small package on her, right?
Yep.
So, like, anytime Mina gets that, Tony's fucking done. It could be things like that.
Number.
You know what I mean?
Mismatch.
But with Mercedes,
fights, right?
but with Mercedes, it's just so droning and uninteresting.
Oh,
I don't care. Yeah, we'll get to that. But anyhow, I digress. Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford, they end up getting the victory.
Looking strong.
And then
looking tough.
Looking strong. Yeah. And then we keep the in-ring action and we get the AEW Trios World Championship match. It's the Ops versus, hey, women, hide your drinks because they're probably going to spike it. The Frat House. Who the fuck are these nerds?
And I said it's giving strong DiBiase posse vibes. Like, it's not.
Oh, it gives very strong. I graduated 3 years ago, but I'm still going to go to the high school prom.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever that guy
I don't know
was.
what this was. Yeah.
And their phrases, win or lose, we booze.
They're not
First
reading the room.
off,
This is not the AEW fan. Is not into this.
Well,
This feels
a
like
couple
an NXT
things. One,
gimmick.
yeah, yes, it definitely feels like that. But 2, if you say booze, I kind of think you're a fuck. Now, maybe that's what they're going for, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think they just want people to boo as they're saying it, right? Like, and they'll be like, "See, boo." Right, yeah, I think. I just don't know that. Like, they want them to be heels, but like, I just don't think that this is hitting for what they're after. Like,
and the one poor fucking guy, the
we think
Griffin
of sexual
Garrison,
assault when we think of frat houses here, like
yeah,
like
or losers that pay for friends, because that's what you all are.
Yeah,
you're losers who pay for friends. Last time I said that, I got beat up, but it was true, and I still stand by it. I got flattened at the frat house. They were like, "You should join." I was like, "I don't pay for friends," and we were playing beer pong, and I just went boom, and I got hit, and I was like, "Oh!" And they beat the fuck out of me. And I tell you what, the hardest thing to do is after you get beat up and your shirt's torn, you've been kicked 500 times, it feels like, getting up and walking out, because then they'll still push on you and spit on you, and you're like, fucking concussed, and you're like, I don't know. Yeah, I can't.
Like, I can't win a fight right now, so I got to just take this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I didn't really know where I was. I remember I got knocked
Why
out
that happened
pretty
to me one
hard.
time?
I have like,
Yeah, it was middle school. We were playing keep away with a pin, and the guy who throwing it to me way overthrew, right? So I chase it down, and when I pick it up, I turn back around to that motherfucker in the middle that we were playing keep away from, just whack, like right in the face, and I was done for, right? Like I'm not like I can't get back up. He's standing over me, just throwing haymakers. I'm fucking
yeah.
out of it, right? I was like, son of a bitch. Finally, he was just like,
Yeah.
fucking picked up his pin and walked off, and I was like, God damn it, shit. Like, fuck.
Yeah, they decided that it would be fun to like join in. I remember getting kicked in places like I was like, I don't think he can kick me where he's standing. But if you ever feel my eye, there's a little bit of a divot, right? So it goes here and then
I haven't
down.
done that in
And I
years.
think it broke my eye. So yeah, sucked. But yeah, the frat house. The fucking one kid graduated from a high school gimmick, the varsity club,
Yeah.
to then the frat house, the Griffin guy.
Yeah, the Griff guy.
And how is it that Preston 10 is going from worst gimmick to worst gimmick? Like 10 was, I think, again, if Brody doesn't pass away, I think there was going to be something there, right? And unfortunate. And so they kind of take a left turn, right? And I get it.
Yeah, but
Now,
nothing was
his
ever gonna
heel
come out of
turn,
that because he's not good. Like he doesn't have charisma.
but that heel turn, when he turned on -1 and like just the kid is like holding the thing and he's doing
Hey,
the
how many
thing
years
with
away
the
are we from
LFI?
-1 wrestling in AEW? It's been 6 years here since AEW started.
Probably,
What are we?
yeah, probably a year or two. But I think he might go over to the other side because he trains at Cody's place.
Yeah.
Hey, keep him. It's fine. Go ahead.
And Big E's his like best friend, wasn't it? Like
Yeah. That's fine.
That's fine,
Yeah.
man. That's good.
I mean, we'll see if he's great. Come over, but it's fine.
Employ his mom.
So the frat house.
Anyway,
Yeah, well, his mom, I think, loves AEW. Yeah, so anyhow, but that's all just speculation. With this match, the Ops just beat the fuck out of the frat house and they win.
The frat house was terrible. I never want to see him again.
I don't, because again, I get things that make me want to boo. Like, you fucking asshole, right? Like,
Yeah, and I want to
when
boo
Swerve
this.
was doing all the bullshit to Hangman did nothing wrong. Fuck you, Swerve, right? This is just like, I don't want
to boo this. This feels like, remember before we all took a liking to Bo Dallas, when everybody was like, just turn your back on him, right? Like everybody's like, just turn around and don't say anything. Like that's what I want to do to this.
Yeah, exactly. So trios champs still the Ops, and then we keep it going. We get an in-ring interview.
By the way, that gimmick was better than anything he's ever done. I know he's doing that weird fucking like trying to be his brother thing, but like,
yeah,
that Bo leave, I think he'd still be doing that today.
If it was taken with like we're gonna make this good instead of just who gives a fuck, let's put it first on a undercard kind of thing. Yeah, it could have been great.
But he topped at Bo Rida, didn't he? He worked Flo Rida
when he
he
when
bodied
he murdered him. That was yeah.
Bo Rida.
What do we get here? Where are we? I missed my Oh, no, I didn't. Here we go. Then we get an in-ring promo. Renee Paquette brings out Jamie Hayter. Now, Jamie Hayter loses the women's side of the Owen Hart Invitational Tournament 2025 trademark. And she comes out on Dynamite and Renee goes, hey, remember, you were worried if you lost what that would mean. And before Jamie even says anything, she goes, lights go out. And did we miss, or did I miss, what actually took out Jamie Hayter? Because then when the lights come up, we're on the entrance screen and it says, and I'm not good with words, I'm going to give it a shot. Thelka?
I think it's Thekla.
Thekla? Nailed it. The poison spider, right? What is that name? Poison spider? Toxic. No, the toxic spider.
Yeah, and then speaking of Bray Wyatt, she did the Bray Wyatt thing.
But I will say that was pretty impressive. The like backwards into the facing. That was
Yeah.
quick.
Now
But
listen,
I
I've
don't know.
seen the name Thekla and on the interwebs and on the Discord. I've seen people saying that like this Thekla was likely to be coming to AEW because the Stardom thing was ending for them, and everybody thought, they're going to come to AEW, which seems to be a bit of a pipeline lately, and that's fine. So some people know about this person. I don't, and we've got time to get there. But I did wonder about the Jamie Hayter aspect, right? Because as you said, before the match at Double or Nothing, we said, what does this mean for Jamie Hayter if you lose? And then she loses. And then we go, Jamie Hayter, you lost. What does that mean now that you lost? And she goes, what? And now it's intro from random person who we haven't seen. Some people know who it is, but we haven't seen.
Right.
That doesn't lend itself well for telling me any kind of story about what this means for Jamie Hayter that she loses. It sounds like we're going to just forget that part happened.
Well, and also, again, let's take it from the toxic spider wants to take over AEW. Why would you start with and I'm not trying to be mean here, but why would you start with the loser?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, if this is personal,
now, one thing,
then it doesn't lend itself to like, what does this mean for Jamie Hayter? Right? I thought maybe we were going to get like a Hangman aspect with Jamie Hayter here or something.
Yeah.
It looked like she was poured into those pants, by the way. The 70s thing was really 70s tonight.
Yeah. Well, Renee's cowboy gimmick was also a little cowgirl, I would say. But
cowboy up. Is that what
here's the thing. Yeah. Here's the thing I would say. I did like how Excalibur, who told me, someone who does not know Thekla, that she was kicked out of Stardom and she beat up the commissioner. Like, okay, it's someone who's kind of a badass.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. That was a cool way to tell. Yeah. That was a cool way to tell me, oh, so this girl can get down.
Right. Ain't afraid to go up and get nasty. All right, got it.
Now, the next thing I'll say is about the last thing that happened. We just moved on. There was no Renee gets back into the ring. Who are you? There was no follow-up later in the night. Hey, can we get a word? Why'd you attack a Jamie Hayter? It was just, bye. Because
Darren K83 in the chat says Thekla is a loose cannon. I'm taking her off the case. What case?
Cool. Hey, but awesome.
But you're right. This is all we saw, right? We're left to wonder what this means now.
Because here's the thing. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing, and then I'll talk about why we could have got more out of this debut. Because next up, we get the TNT Championship match. Adam Cole, your champion, taking on Kyle Fletcher. And it's a fun one. We get all the shit. I liked it. I like how Kyle Fletcher was kind of standing in the spotlight of Adam Cole when Adam Cole was doing the boom kind of thing. And he stood in the middle of the ring so that Adam Cole had to like kind of adjust his Adam Cole, baby. I thought that was fun too. But the finish of the match saw Josh Alexander, right as Adam Cole is about to win, clothesline him, disqualification, which we typically don't see. So Adam Cole retains. Kyle Fletcher, no longer champion. We start taking the boots to Adam Cole, which then brings out Brody King. So let's put a pin in that part there. Later in the night, we go to Kyle Fletcher, who says, I don't know who said that they should interfere, but I could have won that match. And Adam Cole's just like, bitch, I was going to win.
It's fine.
And that's fine. But that moment, in my opinion, could have been for Thekla.
Yeah.
Hey, if we're going to do a backstage segment thing, do it with the person who we've never seen before, who's just debuted. Like,
yeah. And I really thought for a long portion of this match that we were going to give Kyle Fletcher this title. I really thought that was the right move to make, and we were going to do that, and we didn't.
I think we will. I think
we're just setting it up. Huh? We just set the stage here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
I think
it's a good fit.
Special night collision. Just how Adam Cole and Daniel Garcia was going back and forth.
It would be something similar to that match right there.
Yeah. You know, by the way, side note, I love the NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs.
Really
Did you see that Collision's going to be on at 7:00 or after the basketball game, which could be 10:30? Like, what the fuck? You know, that sucked. So yeah, we get going back into chronological order. Brody King
Mm-hmm.
says, "Hey, now I'm fighting you all, and my
Ooh,
next
we got a
matchup
triple
is with
threat.
Josh Alexander." Yeah,
Oh, they're doing
so
this right.
yeah, and again, we did the whole the security crew separates them, even though they're literally about to start the match.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? I don't.
Yep. And they
But
have a
no
fine
one
match.
stopped Thekla. Yeah, but no
Yeah, but
one
no one
stopped
stopped
Thekla.
Thekla.
We don't
But
know who
Brody
this
King,
person is.
yeah, they're also doing this Brody King thing again and just saying like, hey, we're not gonna wait for this Hounds of Hell thing to come back. We're just gonna maybe put him with Ishii and some
Good.
other folks and just throw him
Good.
out there.
Good. More Brody King. More Brody
Well, and
King.
he wins this
More
match.
Powerhouse Hobbs. Yeah.
Yep.
I loved it.
So he's going to now. So he earned a spot in a fatal 4-way. Is that what I'm understanding now? It's not like a tournament, right? It's like a
Yeah. No one dies, but it's
right.
going to be a 4-way fight
A less than fatal
for
4-way.
Kenny Omega's. Yeah. It's going to
Yeah.
be an international 4-way fight for Kenny Omega's international championship because Kenny's from Canada, Brody's from America. You're going to get someone from Mexico, and then I think you're probably going to get Claudio from Switzerland, right? So there you go.
There we go. We get a
Which
worlds
is
collide
great.
kind of an aspect, right?
Yeah, which hey, great. Again, more Brody King. I'm always in favor of. I think the motherfucker's cool as shit.
Let's make a
The
tag
two guys
team of
I would be
Hobbs
pushing,
and Brody King.
or God, I love these balloons, right? Or
Power
just
Hounds.
meat again. That meat championship that you're wanting. Hey, here's the note. TBS or TNT championship, right? It's kind of Adam Cole. That's fine. Let's hear me out, Tim. Let's get this championship off of Adam Cole, little beanstalk, and let's get it on Brody King and secret time. Let's just make this the meat championship, but not call it the meat championship, and just have TNT champion Brody King fight Ishii, fight Powerhouse Hobbs, fight Lance Archer, and it's just meat.
So how about this? Instead, let's get a faction of these guys, and we're going to call it the Meat Mafia, and then those guys are going to run around and just meet everybody around. I don't know who's running
instead of yeet.
I don't know. Yeah,
well,
yeah, that's true.
It's meat.
Instead of yeet, they just have shirts that say meat.
Yeah. Because I've seen
like make the same print and everything. Make it a knockoff, but just as meat.
Well, if you remember, one of the Bloodline guys did the MJF lettering, but it was MFJ or whatever.
Yeah.
Because didn't I saw on Instagram? Doesn't Jay Uso do a thing now where he's like, 1 word, 4 letters, you know it, yeet, and I would just be like, one word, 4 letters, you want to eat it, meat.
Yeah. That would be great.
You want to eat it, meat. Yeah, I would just fuck them.
Yeah.
I bet you Jay Uso, because Jay Uso does seem legitimately cool, would be like, that's cool, awesome.
By the way, really far off side subject. You saw Laurinaitis settled in his turning evidence over to the good. That's so fucking fun. Sucks that he will be punished, but like if that'll help take McMahon down, that shit is hilarious. I can snitch.
Yeah. Although
rarely in favor of snitching, but in a case like this. Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is, hopefully, because who's his best friend?
Yeah, just pardon him. Yeah, we got to draw this out.
Yeah. Yeah, just draw it out.
That motherfucker's gonna pardon Diddy, isn't he? He's gonna pardon Diddy.
He pardoned the Chrisley people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Not happy. But let's talk about happier things. After that, again, as I mentioned, we get the Kyle Fletcher, Adam Cole. This feud isn't over. All right. And then we get to our main event segment, which is a stare down or a promo off. I don't exactly know how to say it, but Mercedes Moné and Tony Storm trade verbal shots face to face. and one person was shooting with bullets and the other person was shooting with blanks.
Brother.
And,
all right. So El Paso already was, they weren't like, so they're positioning Mercedes Moné as the heel. But when she comes out, they're not really like booing her, right? Like, I mean, they,
right.
you know, it is what it is. They're doing the dance, the CEO, which is catchy, right? Everybody's doing that. And man, Toni Storm is so good and so great that it took next to no time for Mercedes Moné to start talking and this crowd to just be like, fuck you. Booed her everything. And again, it was not good. As we've said, she doesn't talk in a normal conversational pattern in these things. Whereas you have Toni Storm, who is the best in the game at this right now.
Yep.
Of anybody. And it showed. It really showed. It was so bad. She got worked in this thing. Yeah. Toni Storm is the greatest.
Yeah. I mean, the only other person that I could legitimately say is on her level well, I will say this. There are a lot of really, really good promos. So I'm not trying to like dim anyone's light to make her shine brighter. But in my opinion, it's kind of her and Hangman. Hangman does a little bit more of this, you guys, I just need like, and it's great, but it's a little like and I get it. That's his character. Toni Storm can do anything. She can say, what makes you think I've forgotten? You know what I mean? Like, she can do that all.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
but,
yeah,
but even the words they were saying,
kind of
like,
goes
it's just
back.
it's delivery, right? Like Mercedes Moné's delivery is not good, but like the stuff they're saying here, right? Where she's like, "What took you so long?" and she's, you know, and the stuff they were saying back and forth was fine, right? But Jesus, Toni Storm was just light years better than her, and it showed it in every way in this. And if we've got to get more weeks of this, I'm a little worried.
Well, let's get physical because that's the way Mercedes can stay in this feud because it ain't talking. Even to the point, I don't know if you caught this, but Mercedes says essentially like, Toni, we finally meet. Toni then says her thing. And for no fucking reason, grabbing it from thin air, apparently now Mercedes then does a fake British accent. What are you talking about, my darling? It's like, who the fuck told you to do that?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like it.
Like, it was
but
just
yeah, you're right.
horrible.
Get physical maybe and get into this, but man, I still every time Toni Storm speaks, it's great. It's hilarious, but it's also
It's the best.
Like meaningful and there's drama.
Yeah.
Like it's just so good. Derek83 says Toni is amazing. Monet thought she cooked with the people are tired of the black and white line. Oh yeah, man. I don't know. Mercedes Moné is not it on the mic. This match, they did mention they're going to have the greatest women's match of all time. These two, they're going to go for that, and they might produce something that we have to discuss whether or not they hit that mark. The match.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the match could be insane, and that would be great. I think. Look, Toni Storm is an amazing wrestler. I think she's the GOAT. That could be though where Mercedes is like, "Hey, you've been killing me on the mic. Watch this," and she just sells the fuck out of everything. That could be where Mercedes gets one back on her, but I don't know. So I don't know. I'm trying to phrase this correctly because the black and white line, I know what we were doing there, right? The black and white, but we are also saying white person, black person, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I don't know if we want to do that again because I'm not saying, hey, once you do it, you can't do it again. But didn't we kind of just do that with Swerve? I'm going to be the first black men's champion. You know what I mean? It feels like it would be a retread if Mercedes then just says, I'm going to be.
So let me ask you this, though.
To the best of my knowledge, to the best of my knowledge, there has yet to be a black AEW women's champion. Is that true?
I believe that's true. Well, yeah, because the Jade Cargill was just the TBS champion, right? So
correct. Yeah.
I don't think so. Nyla Rose.
Yes, Nyla Rose, the second champion. Yep. Yeah, that's true.
So now,
or she Native American?
Yeah, true. Yeah, is Nyla Rose at black? Yeah, I'm not sure. So yeah, I don't know. I think it would hinge on that. That's the only one that I think I would have to ask, right?
Right.
So we don't have picks yet. We've got a long time before we got to pick this match. But you had stated you love AEW. You love almost everything about it. You've been a fan from day one. You really love what they're doing, what they mean to the industry, what it means to your personal life.
Yep. Love it.
But if Mercedes Moné wins clean over Toni Storm with this title, how are you feeling here? Because this feels very likely to happen. To be very honest.
It depends how. I will say that. If we get
your face didn't look like it depends at all.
right. But if we get somehow Mariah May, I'm not done with you yet, Toni Storm screws her over and it's done great.
Yeah, but that's not clean.
Yeah. But if it's straight up clean, then I'm going to write someone a really strongly worded letter. Like someone.
Not even an email. I'm post mailing this.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to have to open it up and get a paper cut from it because I'm sending it your way. I don't know, man. That would be hard. I would have to look. Me and Tony Khan have a connection. We scissored. Okay.
Yeah, you did.
In Independence.
You did.
Yeah, we scissored.
Did you tell me
I might have to call in a favor. Huh? No. It was before the Yuta sucks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yuta was just a tag guy with Claudio at the time in the Blackpool Combat Club. But I might have to call in a favor and be like, Tony, we need to talk. I don't know who the fuck told you that Mercedes should be champion, but you're listening to the wrong people.
You got an audible here.
Yeah. Didn't you? Because here's what I would say.
Tony, you should have phoned a friend.
I'm not saying she's been there a year and we have not heard any backstage reporting, right? There hasn't been a fist fight between Mercedes and
people haven't even said anything. They've all been like, "Hey, everything's great. She's fun. Like everybody likes her."
Right.
Women's roster is strong. Camaraderie is good. They say.
Yeah, and we also heard that about AEW's roster, and Hangman lost to someone, and then all of a sudden, we didn't hear that camaraderie was great. And I'm just gonna say, do you want to play with fire twice? Right? Did we learn anything from CM Punk?
Yeah, I'd say if there's anybody else who has the self-image, right, of like a CM Punk, right, where they think they're the bee's knees. If I had to predict one person who would act like that on that roster, she might be the one.
Yeah. And so I would just say we need to dot all the I's, cross all the T's, prayer circle, meditate, whatever steps that we need to take, and do that twice before we give this belt to Mercedes Moné. And especially at the fault of Toni Storm, because it's not Mariah May. Not to say Mariah May is bad. I love Mariah May. Mariah May losing the title to Mercedes, okay.
Sure.
And earlier I was saying that, losses don't matter. And I still truly believe that. However, what you're going to kind of tell the audience, if you're not careful, is that the AEW stars are great until the WWE stars come over.
Especially when she can't be beat, right? Like not even the greatest here that you have, who's undeniably fan favorite, really great. She can't beat her.
Well, I mean, because look, Hangman lost to CM Punk. And I know Toni Storm was in WWE, so I'm not trying to, but like, let's be honest. She is a homegrown star. If she loses to Mercedes Moné, you're not really telling me that, this is where...
That's actually one of the things that bothered me about that promo and Toni Storm's part was when she said, we both, dreamed big. We both found ourselves there. And then we both came here where we were allowed to really be ourselves. And now we've shined. Mercedes Moné didn't change anything about the character.
Not a thing.
Fucking thing but the name. Not a
Yeah.
fucking thing but the name. Now, she did say, I'm not a boss anymore. I'm a CEO. That's a line. Like, that's cool, right? Like, I got promoted, but like, nothing changed about the allowed to be truly who she wanted to be. This was it. You mean not losing? That's the only thing that I think that's been allowed that wasn't from there. Like, I don't, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't, nope.
There's nothing different
That would
between
be
Sasha
the,
Banks and Mercedes Moné. There's no difference.
no,
It's the same
not a
exact
difference.
character.
Yeah. The same person who wrestled Bianca Belair at WrestleMania is the same person who wrestled Jamie Hayter at Double or Nothing.
Right.
That's the exact same person. It would be the biggest test of my entertainment life. Like,
This
it
is
was
more than
really
when Hogan
hard
turned, huh? This is.
Oh, yeah. Way more.
You're gonna rip up
Because
your
it was
AEW
really
posters?
difficult. Well, it was really difficult to legitimately give up Michael Jackson's music when you find out the information. You're like, fuck this, I'm done. This might be harder. Because, like, what the fuck, guys? No. Tony Storm?
Yeah.
No.
Well, we'll see. We got time to get there. A lot of story to tell. Maybe we'll know. Maybe it'll be clearer and we'll have hope.
Yeah. No, that's mean. I don't want to say that. No.
Yeah, you should
Because we
probably
could
leave
have
that,
her. Because we could have Mercedes just keep wrestling and she's too exhausted to make it to the pay-per-view. She has to say, guys, I can't do another match this week. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, and that's her choice. It's just exhaustion.
That's her choice.
Yeah,
She's just
it's
exhausted.
not an injury. Right.
Nope. No.
Wouldn't
Don't
wish
ever
that.
want to risk. No.
But exhaustion.
But a nap? Yeah. A nap? Yeah. Yeah. I wish a nap on person. Yeah.
You need a nap. Yeah.
How would you feel?
So
that's how I would
once
feel.
in a while. When
Yeah. How would you feel if Mercedes beats Tony Storm?
I would feel like rolling my eyes really hard. You know, now again, the match will be credible and like in the storytelling of a match, and if nobody knew who these characters were, you wouldn't feel that, right? Like I get that.
Right.
But I don't get the feeling we're going to get anything other than what we just got for the next several weeks when these two talk to each other. And so like I got to suggest they find a way to do something more with this, right? Like that, even if you were to come out and do promo offs, you guys, that's the best you were going to do there. So now what, right? Like, what do we do to make this a battle?
Yeah. I'm looking something up. Something just dawned on me. When Mariah May won the championship, was it at All In? And this was in England? Was that the...
Ooh, was it? Or was that... Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
So are we just going to do... Because this is a major show, just like when Tony Storm lost the championship to Mariah May in London, it was a major show. And I think it was. And so are we going to have this like curse on Tony Storm that she always loses the championship at All In? You know? I don't want that. I don't want that. Tim, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want
We
it.
don't always get what we want. Look who the president is. Tom, we got
This might be worse.
Yeah, this might feel like a worse gut punch than that night.
No.
I was sitting there going like, God damn it. This is going to fucking happen.
The worst case scenario would be, and I love the other guy, but I feel like the worst case scenario would be Mercedes and John Moxley are your men's and women's world champions.
Ugh.
And again, John Moxley fucking rules. I love John Moxley.
Yeah, but both of them winning it all in would be just like,
yeah,
would feel like such a gut punch from this. I know we got Forbidden Door in between, but like that's a little different. But this,
no, Forbidden Door is afterwards, isn't it?
I thought it was in between them. Yeah.
No, I think it was afterwards because that's when Ospreay was saying, I want to walk in as champion in London for Forbidden Door.
Right. I think that's
right. But he has
before All In.
No. Cause he has to win the title at All In to then walk in as champion at Forbidden Door.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking it up now. I mean, we don't fact check much, but
I think I'm right.
let's see. When is 2025 Forbidden Door? When is Forbidden Door 2025?
Mm-hmm.
That is,
Great radio here.
yeah, it's not working. Great
It's
radio.
Sunday, August 24th.
And when's All In July?
All In is in July.
Okay, so yeah, all right, then fine. Then we don't got it Forbidden Door.
Y'all, yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Y'all In is on Saturday, July 12th.
but yeah, then that would really feel like if we got Moxley and Mercedes both winning, it would just feel like this pay-per-view was a high. I felt like this is one of the better pay-per-views they've done ever, right? This was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it was really hype. It was
Very
really good storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it. And I liked Dynamite last night. And I like this show. And I like the people who watch it and talk to us in the chat, like Darren K3 and Theo P75. And the folks who haven't emailed us in a long time. Ash. Oh, sorry. I messed that up.
Yeah. Hey, Ash, by the way, write us an email. Have you got your tickets to Forbidden Door? It's in London. You going to go?
Yeah, you're going to be on site. You're going to be our little senior European reporter or whatever, correspondent.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Let's make it happen, Captain.
Ash, we miss you. All right. Well, we hope you miss us. Come around next week and you'll want to join us right here live. Unless, Tom, there's anything else you want to rant about and convince Tony to make sure he doesn't put that belt
I don't
on Mercedes.
rant.
You don't rant? Never have? Never will?
I don't rant. Never have.
Nope.
Check
Push
the
up
tape,
some
bud.
water over here. All right. We will see you next week with more All Elite Wrap Up.